Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to bring you a homeschooling day in the life and show you how our homeschool runs. We are an eclectic homeschooling family and I homeschool 5 out of our 7 children. Multiple grades, multiple ages, all the way from first grade up into high school. As you can see here, this is my 12th grader. So I'm really excited to bring this video to you today. I know I've had lots and lots of questions about how our homeschool works. And I'm also going to answer some questions as a veteran homeschooling mom. Our children have been in public school. They've also done virtual school, and we're now a strictly homeschooling family. So I'm really excited to bring this video to you today and share with you how we've overcome some of the struggles of homeschooling and how we make it work for our family. So let's get into this video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you have not already. Okay, so we don't always start our day this way, but today my son Zane wanted to do his independent read right away. Usually he'll start this when his sister Ireland does one-on-ones, but today he asked to start it before everybody else did their school, so I assigned him so many pages to read. He reads about 4 pages a day when he's reading out of whatever his independent read book is. Sometimes with our homeschool program, he has a reader that he does that goes with his language arts program. So on those days, he will not do his independent read. But right now we are currently reading, or he's currently reading 5 Little Peppers and How They Grew. We also do read some pages together. So there's normally an assigned reading through Easy Peasy with her reading programs that will tell you how quickly she wants the chapter read. So I will count up how many pages there are in the chapter and then split that over 1, 2, or 3 days depending on how long she allots for. So I will assign him however many pages he's supposed to have for that day, and then we'll read whatever's left over together. So now Zane will go up to his room and do his reading. He's making So Aspen and I start off our morning at the computer, and I utilize Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool for their math games for him. He really likes this. I go into my EP assignments, and then I just log in and click find Aspen's name. I have all the kids set up because there are some different things that I use for each kid, and I will go into that later on in this video. But right now we're utilizing the math games for Aspen, and that's pretty much all I use for him other than a music class. And he really likes to do these, you guys. So the next thing that I'm doing is I'm just marking off what Aspen and I have already done. I print up a schedule for my kids each week. It's more like a flow, and I'll talk about that in a later video for you guys, but that's what I'm doing right here. And then the next thing that we do is we go into our calendar and we discuss what month we're in. Aspen uses stickers here to mark off what day of the month that we're in, and he absolutely loves doing calendar time. And then I will go up on the board and I write out the day of the week, the month, the date, so he can visualize. What's it like outside? 2 more days till what?
October.
October, you're so excited. All right, check the weather. What's it like?
What the heck is that? It's very cold.
Is it sunny out?
Cloudy
out? Oh, it's cloudy, okay.
Yeah, very cloudy.
So it's cloudy and cool,
But
so we're gonna use 2 glue. Okay, so I just use these plastic pocket folders. I think you can get them at Walmart. I don't know, my mom actually, I think gave me these, but I think I've seen them at Walmart. This one's double-sided. I do prefer the double-sided rather than the single, so that way you can utilize the back for like things that maybe they need to turn into and stuff, because I use this for all grades. At Aspen's level, he doesn't really need the double side. So for Aspen, I picked up some of these workbooks. He's actually on his 2nd one. He already graduated one. And so this is one on 1, 2, 3s. Now what I liked about this is it says age 3+, but I gotta show you something. So you go inside and it actually has where they work on the numbers and they're working on, so this is what we're actually working on through here, because most of this Aspen pretty much knows, but we're working on the word recognition of the numbers. So practicing our numbers.
This is 5.
That's right.
This is also 3, 5, 5.
Good job.
By the way, what I would say is this doesn't go in order. 3, 5, 5, 2.
That's right. You're right. It doesn't.
3,
go in
5,
order.
5. 3, 5, 5, 2 does not do anything. By the way, what I love about this is, let me show you something. I love how when he's eating the honey, this would be different because that was the different about it, and also the flowers, because bees like honey, and now the bear's getting attacked by bees. And also, I would want to know, what does these say?
It says count to 20, write numbers, and write number words.
By the way, you can draw on the front.
You can. All right, should we get ready for our lesson?
I would do that.
Okay, so every day I have Aspen do 1 page to go along with the computer work that he does.
Yep.
And I use these reusable bookmarks. They're like a Post-it note, but they're plasticky, and they'll last for a while.
I already did the 2, okay
You did.
guys? I already did that.
You did. We're actually
Yes.
working on a new number today, so we're gonna work on 4.
We will work on 4 soon, and then we'll work on 4 for now. Wind down. That's how I do it.
Good job, much better. And see, your lines are your guidelines here. Look up to the board. Are you ready?
We'll wiggle out after this.
After this, we'll do a wiggle out. Ready? Look up to the board, look up to the board. I'm gonna write some numbers that we've already learned. What number is that? Do you remember?
2.
2, very good. That is the number 2. 2 equals 2. Good job. All right, I'm gonna write another one. Are you ready?
Here I'm just doing a little bit of record keeping. I just write the date that we did this page. We aren't required to keep a bunch of records, but I tend to like to do this for my own benefit.
All right, so something that we do in our homeschool is we do a wiggle out is what we call it. So I'll usually pull up some type of song. I'll look up like Freeze Dance, Floor is Lava, or I'll just pull up some like kid-friendly type song, maybe a favorite song of his, and we'll dance for the period of that song or wiggle or whatever
Hi.
we need to do. Hi.
Oh,
How do you like being in first grade?
Well, I have a missing tooth and this one's about to come out.
You do. So anyway, that's what we do. I just pull it up on my phone and we'll dance in the kitchen. And it's a really good way to get young ones to refocus when they need to finish, because he still has more stuff he needs to do. But 45 minutes is a long time for someone this
And
little to focus.
somewhere I go when I'm in freeze dance and lava dance is I go over here, right there, and I stand right over here, 2 feet on this and this, and then so I don't touch the ground.
Okay. So, and if you notice, we have a high chair in the middle of our kitchen out here.
That was
it
gray
doesn't-
ones.
It was, but she doesn't need it anymore here.
gray beans.
So I'm sending it back to my mom's because it was just on loan from
This is
her.
sharp.
For my granddaughter. So if you did not know, I have a granddaughter who is a 1.5 years old.
Okay, you guys, and I'm looking up. It looks like I'm not looking at you.
Okay, so once we've had our wiggle out, then we can start the rest of our day. Sometimes, depending on how long the day takes, we'll need to, but it just depends. Put your tongue back in. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we do is our Good and the Beautiful, and I went back when we started Good and the Beautiful to the pre-K course, and the reason I opted to go with this with my first grader is there is a lot of things that he was still struggling with when it came to letters. And since we've gone on to this, his letter recognition and his sound recognition has been amazing. So one piece of advice I have in homeschooling is if you feel like your child is not right where they would be at grade level. Do not be afraid to take a step back and go where they need to be. Especially at this age, there's not really a behind at this age. Beginning reading really flourishes. In my experience, beginning reading flourishes starting right around 7 when they're really ready. Some kids are ready earlier, some kids even later. So don't take it as if they're behind, because just go where they're ready for. And for me, that's always given me the biggest success, is not being afraid to take a step back. So we are actually almost done with this level, and I've already ordered his next level. But that's where we go to next, this is our language arts. So we're gonna open it up. This is our Good and the Beautiful. And we're just gonna follow the directions and what it says to do for the day. So the first thing that we're going to start with is practicing our letters.
If you notice that, Rick, it's just that we took scissors into it for school. That's part of our school. So
it has special pages for you, doesn't it? Special cutting pages. Do you like them?
We should rip it out though.
You want to rip them out? Like we did the last time?
Yeah, because that was easier for me, remember?
Yeah, you guys, what he's talking about. So if you do the Good and the Beautiful, what you might find is we used to, I don't know, for purposes of trying to do record keeping, I know sometimes I get silly. For purposes of record keeping, he really wanted to tell you about these pages. So for purposes of record keeping, I kept these in here, but it's actually harder for the kids. These are designed to cut, so don't be afraid to pull them out. Okay, so that being said, don't be afraid to take a step back. So now we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna start where it tells us, and it's the number flip book. These flip books, and there's another thing in here that has just been awesome that he's really loved, and it's these things. It's where they go down this path and they recognize the letters and the sounds. And he's made a game of it because he really likes to beatbox. So he'll use the letters almost like beatboxing. Those are probably two of his favorite ways that he has learned to recognize his letters and sounds. So we're gonna start with the flip book though.
This is M.
Good job.
This is O, A.
Good job.
I'm also teaching them too.
I'm gonna teach him too.
This is N, N. So I'm also doing my school. So this would be the letter N where you go line up, line down, line up. It's the easiest thing to do.
What Aspen's doing right now is he's matching sounds and words to the letters. So
now the last one.
What's the last one?
The last one is a nest, guys.
What you see Aspen doing here is a little bit of handwriting technique. He's working on some of those letters that he has been learning recently. Something I like about The Good and the Beautiful is there is a lot of repetition throughout the books that the kids will be doing, but they get used to what's going to happen. So for each letter concept Aspen has had to do, he's had a little bit of repetition, but then they add new concepts sprinkled throughout. Now, we always finish Aspen's day with handwriting, and I actually have him, and we use The Good and the Beautiful for this as well. I have him in the doodles and pre-writing. He may have been ready for level K, but I did notice with some of my other kids that the levels kind of go together, and I didn't want him to have to struggle with something he wasn't ready for and hadn't learned yet.
Okay, so Aspen's day is done. So he only has one-on-ones. He doesn't really have group with us due to his age. Once in a while, he'll join us for music or any of the hands-on stuff. And then our nature study, he'll do the notebooks and stuff like that if it's something that's really geared towards his age. But other than that, that's the end of his day. That's all he does for school right now because we're focusing on reading, writing, and arithmetic at this age. About 3rd grade is when I will put him in groups with us. Okay, so at this point in the day now, I will switch gears and we'll move into my high schoolers one-on-ones, and I'll either do my 12th graders high school or I'll do my 10th grader, just depending on which one's ready to go first. So today, my 12th grader is ready to go first, and we're gonna come down we're down in our homeschool area. So we do a lot of our school upstairs at the dining room table because my husband actually works through that door in our bedroom from home. So, but my high schoolers need their one-on-ones done at the computer, so we come down to our homeschool area.
While I was at it, I thought I'd give you a little tour of our homeschool area. So I love that little apple in our window box there. This rolling cart here, my mom actually gave this to me. I think you can find it on Amazon as well. But anyway, this is where I keep my lower elementary school, like their one-on-one items, all of their Good and the Beautiful books, their history, science, things like that. I keep maps and stuff in the bottom drawers, and I have them color-coded by kids. This is our desk area where our computer is, and that stand over there was our record-keeping area. And then, of course, our homeschool books and art projects. Right now, I'm getting ready to look through my daughter's homework she's turned in.
Oh, I need to give you this. So if you did day 16 Spanish, that belongs to you. You just need to hang on to that. Okay. So Founding Fathers assignment right here.
All right, so now we're getting ready to get into our day. I'm actually just putting away Tierlin's assignments here and recording what she has completed. And like I said, I use a schedule for my kids, and I'll talk about that in another video, how I do that. But now we're going to go into Easy Peasy. I use Easy Peasy for Spanish, history, and health class for my 12th grader, and we're doing health right now.
So I'm going to give you your health assignment. You need to work on page 6, or I mean week 6. Oh, that's green. And then Spanish day 18. All right, there's your day 84 assignment. Same thing as before.
Okay, and then we're going to move into Georgia Virtual. They have a paid site, but they also have a shared site as well, and that's what I use. It is free to go on there. A lot of the tests and stuff you won't be able to take, but all the assignments, we use this as a guideline for our literature class. And Tierlin is taking American literature right now. But like I said, they won't have a lot of like the tests. You can't submit them to a teacher on the free site, but since I'm their teacher, it doesn't really matter. And then I also use it for her government class as well. And I just go in there and I use it as a guideline, and they turn in their assignments. That's what I grade. Some of the quizzes are available to be graded, and so I'll use those as part of their grade as well. And you can see she's studying the U.S. Constitution here at the moment.
Of the state legislatures must request Congress to call a constitutional convention. 3/4 of the state legislatures must ratify amendment.
3/4 of all 50 states in agreement. Step 1. Get elected to Congress or to a state legislature.
Okay, so now I'm moving into my upper elementary school students part of the day. I have 2 6th graders, and I'm starting with Ireland. And as you can see, she's in something called Learn to Read here through Easy Peasy. And this is to really strengthen her reading skills. She, for a long time, struggled with reading. And so we're just doing a lot of review here.
Go ahead and read.
When he is going to see the Queen. When is the best time to be quiet? Best time to quit? What is he thinking? Where is she? Chasing him so quietly.
Okay, so at this point in the day, Ireland have finished and I have finished her reading. So she does 2 types of reading work with me to work on strengthening her reading. So she has a book that she reads from. Right now we're in the middle of Beauty and the Beast. She does that 2 days a week, unless she has her Good and the Beautiful reader to read from. Then we skip Beauty and the Beast and we just read strictly from the reader. But then we also do that computer work that you guys saw, where we're doing the easy peasy all-in-one homeschools learn to read program. So we've been kind of putting that together with additional phonics work, because it's got like phonics work and it's got just strengthening the things she's already learned. So it's a lot of review. And we do 3 of those lessons a day just to kind of move forward through it. And she's really at the pace and the reading level that she can handle that. But it just brings me to anything where she might be struggling a little bit, whether it's like some of the silent letters once in a while. But your reading is so strong now, isn't it? You've worked really hard to become a reader, so I'm very proud of Ireland. But yeah, we still utilize that. When we started learning reading, we started with teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons, right?
Yeah.
You guys, if you're wondering what she's doing, she's playing with this little Crayola thing that we got with our new set of crayons. So all the kids have been fascinated with him. He's got a little face and hat and stuff.
I put a pencil inside.
Anyway, so we started out with teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. And then we moved into just reading some books. And then we've moved now into the good and the beautiful. So we started this year just so I knew that we weren't missing any of now this is designed to do 4 days a week. We do it 5, and then we'll do enrichment during the summer. So she'll actually move through these. She's actually ready to go to the next one. But we started at level 1, you guys. And that was so any language arts that she was missing due to the reading struggles, we could get really strong in.
Yeah, he also can be a crayon holder.
Oh, he is a crayon holder. That's really cool. Look at that, you guys. Yeah, so that's a little bit about where we are with reading, and why we are in level 1 is because when Ireland came out of public school 3 years ago, this is now the beginning of our 4th year of homeschooling. When she came out, she was really a struggling reader, and it took a while to find out what it was we were missing. So I just took her back and we started at the beginning, and I had started several other programs and they weren't working until I found teach your child to read in 100 easy lessons. So if you have a struggling reader, that's one that really worked for us. It works with the decoding and takes letters, and this would be for like if you have a struggling reader that already knows their ABCs. I think you can also do it with kids that don't know their ABCs, but I've never utilized it that way. So for me, I use it after they already know their ABCs or know the majority of like being able to recognize them. If they're struggling with a little bit of the sounds, that's okay. But they do at least need to, in my opinion, I think they need to know a little bit about their sounds. So that being said, she's gonna keep tormenting me with these, these crayons until I get into school.
He's got a spiky crown.
That being said, we are going to move into our school day and take you through what Ireland and I do for her school, and that is starting with spelling. So I use a website, and I've talked about it before. I think it is spellingwords.com. I think that's what it is. When I go downstairs, I'll look for, I'll put it in down below for you guys. But I use a website to get spelling lists off of. The Good and the Beautiful does have some spelling words, but I prefer to do a more consistent spelling. So we utilize both. They'll do the words in here and practice them, and then they also do our lists. And what we do is we take a pre-test, and if they ace it, we go and take another pre-test. We'll just keep going through the level until we have about 5 words for them to practice, anywhere between 5 and 7 words for them to practice throughout the week. And then we practice for 4 days, and then we take a post-test. And if they need to practice them again, then we practice them for another 4 days, or we'll add, like say they only missed one, we'll just add that onto the next list, if that makes sense. So anyway, so that's what Ireland has today. She has spelling practice. We don't have any tests today, so that'll be part of her independent work later on in the day, and you'll see that. That was one thing I wanted to talk about, was levels. When it comes to kids, and teaching for homeschool, I don't look at levels according to grades. I look at where they're ready to be, because every child is different. Some kids have strengths in math, some in science, some in reading, writing. But to me, reading, writing, and arithmetic are really super important. Bree, come on in. Are super important for them to have a hand on. So my oldest, who is now in 12th grade, when she started homeschooling 3 years ago, she really, really was struggling in mathematics. And I took her back to the very basics. She has what's called dyscalculia. And I took her all the way back to the basics. And this year, you guys, she is doing physics and pre-algebra, where we went all the way back to like a 3rd grade level in mathematics. So very quickly, kids will catch up once they catch on to what they're doing. So that's why I don't, that's why I don't worry about levels. I just take them where they're at and where they're ready for. I get these at the Dollar Tree, these lined Post-its, and I actually put the kids' independent work assignments on here. So what I'll do is I will put a little dash and then write what the assignment is next to it. So she has spelling to do. And then I'm also, because I already know every day they have handwriting, so I'm gonna put that on here. And the reason I write these out is because I have several children that this is just how they learn best. They need a list of things to do. So I'll put spelling and handwriting on there. And then I'm gonna show Ireland. I just tell her, okay, you just have to practice. And then, let me get you in here with me. And then I'll open up her handwriting book, even though she knows she has it every day. I look at it with her. We do the good and the beautiful. She's using the level 3 handwriting book. And I started at 3. They probably could have gone to 4, but this also had some like language arts work, and it had some things I kind of wanted them to work on. So I started them in 3. They're almost done with this, but currently the good and the beautiful is out. So of level 4. So hopefully they'll have it in before we finish. But yes, Ireland is doing level 3, good and the beautiful handwriting. We love this. I wish I had done this forever ago, but I actually didn't know about it up until last year. I'd heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was. And I wish I'd heard about it sooner. So I will go over this with her, and I'll just say, like, here, you're gonna copy the sentence. Go ahead and read it to me.
Honesty is the best policy.
And so I always do that especially when you have a child that is struggling in reading, but I do it with my kids that even aren't, that are in grade school, because that tells me every once in a while you don't realize that they don't know a word that you might think that they do. But she knew all of these, so I know she can copy it and she knows what she's writing. She can read it and she's good to go. Okay, so you're going to be working on letters B, G, H, and I. And then you get to color the grocery cart, and then draw it and color one of your favorite foods in it. So they get a little bit of art with it, which is kind of fun. It's more like doodly art. So we're adding back in our art program on Fridays, and I'll talk about that more when I film the second part of this video. Okay, so that's your handwriting. And then I just I tick off my boxes, you guys, of what I've done. So far we have finished spelling, because we don't really have much to do but her to practice. And then we're gonna pop right into the good and the beautiful. So I have several tabs in here because there's things we go back and forth in. But the pink one is where we're at. Oh, you need a highlighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab your highlighter. And oh, you get to read out of your reader today. So normally, if I would have realized she had her reader today, I wouldn't have had her practice on the computer, but we're gonna go ahead and do the reader, which means you get to read some Beauty and the Beast this week too. So that's how that works. We don't really care if our school day goes late, because we don't really have much to do during the weekdays anyway. So if it goes late, it goes late. The kids know. We try to do a really laid back pace. I don't try to rush through it. I used to try to do that, and that's super hard on the kids, and it's super hard on me too. We just go at our pace, and school days, we just know that that's our priority. Above anything else, school is our priority. And we just take our time and get there.
Pretty colored crayon.
Yeah, she's getting bored waiting for me, so let's do this. A word ends with 2 vowels, like the word to. This is not open or closed, okay?
It's medium.
If it ends with a silent E, like bake, it is not open or closed. Okay, so it ends with a silent E. It is not open or closed.
So the oven's not open or closed, correct?
And if it ends with two vowels, two A, E, I, O, or U, it is not open or closed. Okay, so on the sticky note I wrote independent practice because there's usually always some independent work in the book. So today Ireland's going to be writing some words and creating sentences to go with them. And I think that's it for her today. So I do the same thing for Zane as I do for Ireland when it comes to spelling. Same way that we practice that I do with her. And I use the same type of sheet. Oh, eraser and pencil.
Well, it's blue.
Yeah. It's one of his favorite colors, you guys.
It is my favorite color.
It is? Well, I thought you were liking purple there for a while, you said too.
Blue and red.
Blue and red now. Things change. Anyway, but blue's always been. It used to be, he would tell me baby blue and baby pink. But anyway, so I do the same thing for Zane. I use this lined Post-it note and I write on there for him too. I just ran up the stairs, so I'm a little out of breath. He has some other assignments he's been working on. He has a couple of art projects, one for history. They do the Good and the Beautiful history, and he had a coloring sheet that was part of their level to do on ancient Egypt, which we just finished up, but he's still finishing up his coloring sheet. So I'll assign him as part of that. What?
I almost ate this.
Instead of your cheese stick?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll assign him his coloring sheet, and then he has a piece of artwork he's working on called a dot picture, where it's like they color in dots on the whole thing. So he's been working on that for a while. So he's gonna do another section of that dot picture coloring sheet, and then of course he does handwriting as well. And he and Ireland are in the same grade, so they both do the same level of handwriting. Handwriting. Da-doo, da-da-doo. At this point, before we go into anything else, I use the Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool reading program as a guide for books. So it's not so much their entire program. I only use the books, and if she has any poetry, we'll do that on our poetry day, and I'll introduce both of the kids at the same time to the poetry. So when Ireland gets to the level that he's in for reading, she'll have already done that poetry, so she can just completely skip through that. So it's just for the actual novels that I use it. I don't use it for like the language arts portion anymore like I used to. So right now Zane is in the middle of reading, like I said before, 5 Little Peppers and How They Grew. So he did his reading assignment earlier, and then him and I are gonna read a few pages together. So on his chart, I always map out for the whole week what we need to read together. So today we're just reading 1 page together because he's doing, he's doing chapter 8 all in one day. So he read his pages, and then we're gonna read 1 page together to finish the chapter off. Here she has it mapped out for 2 days. So he'll read 4 pages, and then we'll read 2 on one day, and then he'll read 4 pages and we'll read 2 on another day. And that'll get the chapter done in the amount of time that she allotted to have them done. Plus sometimes there's questions and assignments that go with the reading that we'll use. Right now it's more just talking about what's happening in the chapter. So we'll read it, and then he's gonna tell me what happened in the chapter. At this point, once we've finished up our reading lesson, then we'll dive right into the Good and the Beautiful for Zane as well. He is working on the level 3 course book at this point, and we are going to, so he has a poetry reader that comes with his, as well as an independent reader, but he didn't have the independent read to do today. So, and that comes with this course, but he has this almost every single day. And usually they have them read the poems 2 times each. So one day they'll read them and then they'll go over them again. And it's a good way to go over any new words. There's lots of new words in here for him. Like the word twill, there's some older style words and stuff. So it's a good way to introduce the words, kind of talk about them, and then the next time they're more familiar with the words and the poetry. Okay, go ahead.
Beside a hill, smooth with new laid snow, a single star looked out, flew chemistry, quiche.
Yep.
Yes, I got it right this time. An idiom. Just say it right.
You said it right.
Cannot be understood by defining its words. You have to know what the idiom means.
Okay, so Zane also has independent work, but his is at a little bit higher of a level, so he has a little bit more work to do. So today he's gonna have to work on homophones. They have homophone practice. Then he's got a vocabulary word that he's going to be doing, and then a journal entry as well. And the journal entry has to do with the vocabulary word that he's learning. So basically what I do is I get the kids a composition book to go with each, basically, class. And so then we'll put in here, like, this is lesson 45. There's his vocabulary word. He can do that work up there, and then journal entry down below it on that same page. And then I'll check this later when I grade home. Okay. So, you guys, for my math and science for my high schoolers, we do Life of Fred. Now, these two are able to be in the same class together because Life of Fred's designed to do physics with pre-algebra. So T is in pre-algebra this year. T is my student that has dyscalculia. And so you're finally in algebra, which is awesome. She's worked really hard to get there. And Braxton is just starting his algebra journey for high school. So he is in the 10th grade. But they both need physics. So this is your last science you need, right? Mm-hmm. And so Braxton's gonna do his science a little bit flip-flopped because Life of Fred starts with physics. So that is how we do our math and our science for high school. And they're actually right now, they're working on what's called a bridge in these books, which is a review. So they're gonna work silently, and then I'll go through, and whatever they did not understand, we review it. So there's like, the way Life of Fred works is they'll do like 6 chapters, and then they'll come to what's called the bridge, and they have 5 tries to get over the bridge. And they need to get 9 out of 10 right on their bridges. So that is what they're working on right now, is their bridge. So that's how we do our math and science. It's all combined in a group class. So if you have high school students that are close in age, this is one way that you can do it, especially like they only need 3 sciences. So it's easy to go ahead and do it that way. Something I have found when doing Life of Fred is when they get to the bridges, because it is a lot of mental work, I wait until the following day to correct them with them. And the reason I do that is because if we come across one that is incorrect, then we can go over the steps and work through the problems and do an instruction lesson on it and take our time the way we need to, instead of after they just did all this brain work, then trying to shove more information in their heads. I'd rather have fresh brains to work with, I guess. I need fresh brains. I watch too much Walking Dead, you guys. Okay, so this is the group part of our day. So Braxton joins us just for our history read, because we do history through the good and the beautiful. However, we do not have it today. We only do history on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but we deep dive into history on those days when we do them. But we read our history read Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Monday through Thursday, we'll read whatever read. So right now we're in medieval times and we're reading the Saracen Stade. So he's gonna join us for chapter 7. But Hugh, why can't you tell me now what the abbot wanted to see you about? Shh, listen. Okay, so after we're done with our history read, we'll move into either history or science. Today is science. So T made this. We're actually studying marine biology, and we're doing it through the good and the beautiful's K-8 unit study science, but it only goes up to 8th grade. So my high schoolers, like I said, use Life of Fred. And then I have a cork board here for vocabulary words that they learn with each unit. So they've already learned all of these so far. And then we also study out of this, the Ocean's Atlas. So we read a page each time we do science. That was a book my mom picked up. And then we have been studying this. Now they have some read-alongs. We already did the read-along for this unit, but this one we just do 2 questions a day. It asks them questions about the ocean and then answers them for them. And we do 2 a day. So that's kind of how our science class goes. And then I'll just open this up and we go to the unit that we're on, which right now we are on what I call unit 3. It says lesson 3, but we actually break these up. So we've already done the read aloud. We're gonna go ahead and do the opening activity this time. And we'll do like anywhere between 1 to 3 of the things that it asks to do because we deep dive into our reading of it. So that's how we do our science. Every day we have a manners class that we do. We work out of this book called 365 Manners. Kids should know. And it's done by date. So every day there's a different manner that they work on. It goes everything from like eating etiquette to weddings to holiday celebrations, stuff like that. So it's just something fun. The kids, I started it with the kids last year and they enjoyed it. So we've just continued doing it. And I've actually learned a lot of things I did not know in this book. So one of the other things that we do is we have a group literature read. Right now we're working on Alice in Wonderland. We're actually on the Through the Looking Glass story in the book. So we always have one piece of classic literature or some type of really fun literature read for the kids that I'll sit and read out loud to them. So usually at this point too, while we're reading and doing our group session, the kids are working on any independent work that they were assigned. And then I'll correct those later in the evening. As she noticed, several of the chessmen down in the hearth among the cinders. But in another moment with a a surprise, she was down on her hands and knees watching them. The chessmen were walking about 2 and 2. All right, so for the very last thing that we do for our group part of our day for my grade schoolers is we do Life of Fred for math as well. This does not combine science and math. It's strictly math in the elementary series. And we are on the book Cats. We just started doing this at the end of the year last year. And I really wish, just like with The Good and the Beautiful, I had known about this before. I absolutely love this. Now, kids need a basic knowledge of addition and subtraction in order to be able to do this, which is why I don't have Aspen working on this yet, because he's not quite ready. But this is how we finish up.
All right, so this part of the day I'm working with my 10th grade high schooler, Braxton, and he is doing Easy Peasy for Spanish and health class. So I do his one-on-ones last. That seems to work best for him. And right now we're diving into his health class. And what that consists of is looking up an article, a current like scientific article, selecting one for him to read. There wasn't much new, so I selected from some of the older stuff he hasn't read. And then we jump into Georgia Virtual after that for his language arts class as well. And he is doing 10th grade, or well, basically lit and composition too. So it's 10th grade literature. And he's currently, I believe, studying short stories at this point in time. So I'm just going to pull that up for him. We're going to go over any videos or readings that we have. And then once that's done, we go into fine arts because he is taking art history this year. And I also do that through Georgia Virtual. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. And I think right now we're working on an e-text. And so we're studying some prehistory art. And he's getting to go through the hall.
All right, so. All right, so the way I always end my night is to make sure that I put in our attendance, which I've already done. I track it through Easy Peasy, but I also, because you know computers fail, and actually they had a server failure this year, so I'm glad I do it this way. I also track them on a regular calendar and I just highlight. And this is also how I keep track of vacations and stuff, but I'll show you guys that in another video, how I do that. And I put grades in. So my oldest kids have a grade book, my high schoolers. My younger kids do not. I just go and I check their work, and then if they got something wrong, we go over it the next day. That'd be Aspen. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. And watch for part 2 of this video so you can see how we do our Fun Fridays.